Is Jose Quintana a must-add? Find out next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Wednesday, September 6th. I am Frank Samfel, joined by Scott White. And let's talk about Jose Quintana, who continues his great run with the New York Mets. He was at the Washington Nationals. 7 innings, 1 run, 4 strikeouts in this one. He threw his curveball a little bit more. It's been a great pitch for him over the past 2 years. He has now gone 6+ innings in 7 of 9 starts so far. He's got a 3 ERA on the nose, 126 whip. He's 45% rostered. Scott, is Jose Quintana a must-add in fantasy baseball?
Well, it took us a while on the full-length podcast to figure out that this current week is not a 2-start week for him, as it appeared it was heading into the week. Next week is a 2-start week for Jose Quintana. So just for that reason alone, I'm inclined to say yes. Now, if you remember, people who've been playing fantasy baseball or just following baseball for a long time, back when Jose Quintana first broke into the league with the White Sox, he was kind of this out of nowhere, just came out of nowhere to become a must-start fantasy pitcher. And then he kind of fell off for a few years. And then he's bounced back here these last 2 years. And this year especially, the fact he's going 6+ innings so consistently, 7 of his last 8 starts being quality starts. I think it's reminiscent of those early years with the White Sox. And the reason why is because his drop-off happened. It really coincided with the juice ball era. And specifically, the home run rate spiked for Quintana in those years. It's been back down for him the past 2 years, and we've seen the ERA drop way down as a result. And so I'm not going to go as far to say he's must start as he was in those days, but certainly with a 2-start week coming up, I'd like to have him for that.
Some of the other most added starting pitchers right now on CBS include Jordan Wicks, Kyle Hendricks, Kyle Harrison, and Javier Assad. Would you take Jose Quintana over any of those names? Wicks, Hendricks, Kyle Harrison, and Assad.
I think I'd take him over all of them. I hesitate a little with Kyle Harrison because the upside is so high, but who am I more likely to start next week? I mean, it's got to be Quintana. So, yeah, I think I'd take Quintana over all of them.
All right, let's fire up the drop-o-meter for some starting pitchers, and maybe we'll drop some of these names for Quintana as well. Dylan Cease had another clunker at the Kansas City Royals, 5 1/3 innings, 4 runs allowed, 3 homers allowed, and over his last 4 starts, Cease has a 9.30 ERA, a 2.07 whip. 2 of those starts came against the A's and the Royals. He's still 93% rostered, Scott. Dylan Cease, where is he on the drop-o-meter, 1 to 10?
Given how late it is and what it would take for him to regain my trust, I'm not opposed to dropping him. I think I'd go as high as 6. My biggest hesitation is that I wouldn't want to see him bounce back and then used against me, because that would be the most knucklehead move ever if I lose in the championship game to Dylan Cease. And he has, his next few matchups are looking good. Granted, this one was, and he didn't come through, but wouldn't it be surprising to see him at some point in the near future throw 6 shutout innings, strike out 11, and then he's fallen into the enemy's hands? And why did you do that? So I think I'd rather just keep him tucked safely on my bench where he can't harm me in either way. And, there's an off chance that maybe I'll want to enjoy him again at some point if he has a bounce back start like that.
All right, let's move over to Michael Lorenzen, who has been pretty bad since throwing the no-hitter. In 4 starts since, he has an 8.14 ERA, a 195 whip, 9 walks to 11 strikeouts over 21 innings pitched. He's still 80% rostered. Where is Michael Lorenzen on the drop-o-meter?
Michael Lorenzen is an 8. Never had a lot of faith in the profile, but I thought it was worth using him while he was hot. Clearly not hot anymore.
Would you drop either Lorenzen or Cease for Jose Quintana?
I mean, I hesitated to say I'd drop Cease for Quintana on the full-length podcast, but that was before we came to realize Quintana's a 2-star pitcher next week. I think if I had to, I would. I'd certainly drop Lorenzen for Quintana.
All right, lastly here, just a quick update. Clayton Kershaw, the velocity was down quite a bit in this start on Tuesday. He gave up 3 runs over 5 innings. He walked 5 batters as well. And then it came out afterwards that he continues to pitch through left shoulder issues. So sounds like this is going to be a problem the rest of the season for Clayton Kershaw. I think you need to be a little bit more pick and choosy about when you're using him in your lineup for the rest of the season. For more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Bye-bye!